It was a fire exchange. That is probably an understatement between California Democratic Congresswoman Maxine Waters, Pennsylvania Republican Congressman Mike Kelly. It happened all on the House floor. It was about discrimination over car loans and whether the industry stacks the deck against minorities and women. I want you to take a look.
Mr. Speaker and members, I can't believe that in 2018 we're on the floor of Congress seeing the denial of some of my colleagues about discrimination in the auto lending business and defending the automobile lenders, despite the fact there's been a study that shows that there has been discrimination. And the study should have included women because they discriminate against women also. They think women are stupid, don't know how to negotiate a loan, and women have been taken advantage of too.
To impugn the integrity of the automobile people is absolutely beyond reproach. And so if you run out of facts, I guess the next thing you have to go to is discrimination. And when we talk this way, it is so divisive, but that's the platform. Let's divide them. Let's try to separate them. The color of the skin, the shape of their eye, their gender. Let's make sure that we can make every statement possible to show that there are bad people out there doing things to other folks. And it's only by discrimination that these things get done. I will tell you, I am greatly offended as a member of the automobile industry and as someone who has served thousands of people. If you think the dealers are that bad, please go to your hometown and look at the Little League fence and find out whose name's out there. Look at your high school programs and see who it is that's funding all these things. Go to any charity and see who's on the list of who takes care of people. We are doing the same thing every day that you are doing. We are trying to make sure that we're making America great every day in every way. And the best way to do that is to stop talking about discrimination and start talking about the nation. We're coming together as a people in spite of what you say.
Mr. Kelly, please do not leave because I want you to know that I am more offended as an African-American woman than you will ever be. And this business about making America great again, it is your president that's dividing this country. And don't talk to me about the fact that we don't understand what happens on the automobile. No, I will not yield. No, I will not yield.
Okay.
Don't tell me that we don't understand. That's the attitude that's been given toward women time and time again. Don't you dare talk to me like that and think that somehow women don't understand what goes on the floor of automobile dealers. I don't appreciate that you did not interrupt him when he was making those outrageous remarks about him knowing more about discrimination than I know about discrimination. I resent that, and I resent the remark about making America great again. He's down here making a speech for this dishonorable president of the United States of America. Having said that, I reserve the balance of my time, and no, I do not yield not 1 second to you. Not 1 second. Not 1 second to you.
All right, they broke form, procedure, and how they do things on the House floor for that. The back and forth sort of just went viral. With us now, one of the key players, Pennsylvania Republican Congress Mike Kelly. Now, we did reach out to Congresswoman Waters. We still have not heard back from her office, but again, that offer is still out there. Congressman, in the end, it looked like you guys were not connecting or reaching each other. In the end, she was more or less saying that this legislation, that you, more to the point, didn't get minorities, didn't get women. You say what?
No, listen, I just say that you have to look at the study that the lady's talking about. It's a study that really breaks it down by saying that looking at people's last name and their zip code, that somehow those people are being discriminated against when it comes to auto lending. And, you know, we're talking about thousands upon thousands of auto dealers and millions of people who work in the industry, and making a broad statement that, listen, these are people that discriminate against non-white buyers. That is absolutely preposterous. And I will tell you this, anybody that sits in the House, and it's the people's house, by the way, not the white people's house or the non-white people's house, but the House, the American people's house, to listen to that rhetoric and not offer a rebuttal to it is absolutely not the way we do things in America. The study was flawed, her argument is flawed, but to impugn the integrity of all the people in the automobile industry, and I just say to people, listen, there's 31 words that are so important to us as a nation. It is our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we can come on the floor of the people's house and try to divide us in every way possible, the tone and tint, the color of our skin, the shape of our eye, our gender. our status in life, this is not who we are as America. America is a melting pot. I guess what she was claiming, and she's not here, but I just wanted to explain. She was saying that this legislation, if you lifted some of the rules that are in place and regulations, albeit those put in place by the Obama administration on its way out the door, you're a former auto salesman, a very successful one, and that it would be rigged against those who somehow end up paying higher rates or higher loan rates, and they're disproportionately minority. You say what to that? And I say, listen, you know, people can say anything they want, but, you know, actually, your argument has to be based on fact. And there's no facts in any of the things that the lady was talking about. The study is flawed. It's not by me described as being flawed. It's described as being flawed and junk. And that is the
so
CFPB.
They don't pay higher rates, they don't pay higher rates than whites?
No, Neil. People's credit and the payments the rates that they pay are based on something called a beacon score. With all the regulations that we have in place, why would anybody look at the color of somebody's skin and say, you know what, this is somebody I can take advantage of? And you're impugning the integrity of thousands upon thousands of auto dealers, both new auto dealers and used auto dealers, and millions of people who serve the needs of the transportation needs of our country. And to say that somehow what we do is we prey on non-white people is incredibly divisive. It's not who we are as a country. And if we continue down this path, this cancer that's working its way through our society and breaking us down as a people, it is absolutely, you can't talk that way. And if words matter, and they truly do matter, what are we doing to ourselves, and what are we doing to our country, and what are we doing to those 1.4 million lives that were lost in defending this wonderful, wonderful nation? Our country is one thing. That's about our geographic site. Our nation is another thing. That's about the people. And I would just say, for all of us, sit back. And if you can listen to those type of words, and by the way, the exchange between myself and Ms. Waters was not the only one. I sat there for 15 minutes, listened to a line of people on the other side coming up and making disparaging remarks about automobile people. And also saying consistently, they discriminate against non-whites. They discriminate against non-whites. This is absolutely the most divisive type of talk that we can imagine.
You're quite right. It did accelerate. I wouldn't necessarily bring in the 1.4 million people who gave up their lives to this country.
Well, I sure would, because they did, Neil.
We're talking about those who sell cars. I take nothing away from cars. They're wonderful people. Don't get me wrong. But I do think you can get a little bit hyperventilating on that. But I do want to step back because she seized on something you said in the middle of this argument. I want you to explain this, Congressman.
Not one of your people have ever been on the floor and had tried, not this floor, I'm talking about the automobile floor. You know an awful lot about laptops, but you know nothing about blacktop. You get on that floor, you get on that lot, and you work with people to make sure they can have affordable transportation.
Now, I know what you meant, and I think a lot of just rational thinking people knew what you meant, Congressman, but when you said one of you people, it was seized on as a racist comment. You say what?
Well, this is what I say. We are in a country right now where we prey on any type of statement to try and make it more divisive. She knows exactly what I was talking about. I was talking about the number of people on the other side of the House that day that came up in line to constantly criticize the automobile people. Not one of those people, by the way, have any background in our business. I do. This is an industry that I have worked in so long and love so well. And I understand what that industry has been able to do to lift the lives of every single American. It's who we are as a people. But to have to sit there and listen to that and know that at the end of the day, all this is about dividing the American people, not bringing us together. We are the United States of America, not the divided States of America. And do I get passionate about it? Yes, I do, because I think at some point, if you don't rise up and say you cannot continue to use this type of language, words do matter, and when you utter those words, but nobody pushes back on them, then it becomes, it must be true. I will never sit back and listen to that type of rhetoric without saying that is a false narrative. There's no facts to back it up, and all you're doing is dividing us as a people. And I don't care who makes that statement on either side of the aisle. I serve with people that are incredibly devoted and patriotic to making this country great again. If your whole purpose of every day when you get up is to somehow bring down the President of the United States and to somehow diminish the fact that in every measurable way, our country is doing so much better now. We have a dynamic and robust economy. More black Americans working today than ever, more Hispanic Americans working than ever, women in the last 20 years, more of them working together, wages rising by 3.25%, 6.6 million jobs available today, Neil. That's what the discussion should be. It should not be about a flawed regulation from the CFPB that was trying to discriminate and tried to divide us as a people, and again, using a flawed piece of information that says, I can tell you're discriminating because you look at the last name and you look at the zip code, and these are people you think you can take advantage of. I would ask people, there are 3 Kellys serving in the House right now. There's 3 Kellys. Robin Kelly is a good friend of mine, and we talk back and forth. You know what we say when we see each other? Hi, cuz. How are you, cuz? And we give each other a kiss. Now, people would say, oh, I can't believe you're saying these type of things. Robin Kelly is African American.
So when you hear that kind of stuff, you hear that kind of stuff, Congress. I wish we had more time, but I just want to be clear, because this follows on Hillary Clinton's remarks that she lost the election because a lot of people are chauvinists, didn't want a woman in power. They keep going back to Trump supporters, maybe your supporters, and saying that they're not a friend of women and minorities, that they support deals that favor white people. This is your chance to answer that charge. I don't know if you had a chance with Ms. Waters to talk to her after this back and forth, but what do you want to say?
I just want to say to the American people, this is what's happening in our country today, and people ask me, why are we so divided? It is the rhetoric that is dividing us right now. Are these untruthful facts, and words matter, and if we continue down this path, we will never be able to fulfill the promise that this country has had forever for all the people that come here. We are the only country in the world, by the way, that people keep coming to. They come here because of a chance to take care of their children, to take care of their families. We can't be this way. We cannot be this divided, and we cannot use this type of language and think that somehow it's helpful. Neil, it is destructive, it is divisive, and I would ask all of us, to please take a look at that pledge and understand what it means. And when it does come to Memorial Day, that's not a day that we celebrate. That is a day that we remember all of those who gave their lives.
Have you talked to Congresswoman Waters since that?
No, you know what? You know, the funny thing about this, Miss Waters and I were at the Korean embassy a couple weeks ago, sat at the same dinner table, talked about issues that are affecting our relationship with South Korea and North Korea, rode back in the same car together, and had a very pleasant conversation.
Understood.
But as an industry, as a person who works in the automobile industry, you cannot sit there and listen to that kind of talk and not rise up and say that is flawed, that is false, that is not true. If you do not stand up and make a rebuttal, who are you?
Okay. Congressman Mike Kelly?
If it's not about being able to speak back when falsehoods and lies are being told about you, then who are we as a people? So, Neil, I would just tell all people, listen, you know, tomorrow's Mother's Day, and this is for all mothers to enjoy. Please, I would just ask people everywhere, please stop the divisive words. Don't worry about the color of your skin, the shape of your eye, where you worship or don't worship, your gender, your status in life. It's America, Neil. It's America.
Thank you very much. I hope your family has a good Mother's Day, as I hope Maxine Waters does as well. Thank you, Congressman.
Me too.
And and Means Committee and Chair of the Congressional Auto Caucus.
The gentleman from Pennsylvania is recognized for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you very much for giving me some time. I know I just heard the phrase that I am appalled by what's taking place on the floor today. I would tell you, I join in those comments, and I really do believe that. For a person whose family's been in the automobile business since 1953 and sold thousands and thousands of cars to people of any color, it doesn't matter the color of the person buying the car. Do we match them up with the transportation need that they were looking for? And were we able to arrange financing that was affordable to them? You cannot be in business for 65 years doing it the wrong way. And to impugn the integrity of the automobile people is absolutely beyond reproach. And so if you run out of facts, I guess the next thing you have to go to is discrimination. And when we talk this way, it is so divisive, but that's the platform. Let's divide them. Let's try to separate them. The color of the skin, the shape of their eye, their gender. Let's make sure that we can make every statement possible to show that there are bad people out there doing things to other folks. And it's only by discrimination that these things get done. I will tell you, I am greatly offended as a member of the automobile industry and as someone who has served thousands of people. If you think the dealers are that bad, please go to your hometown and look at the Little League fence and find out whose name's out there. Look at your high school programs and see who it is that's funding all these things. Go to any charity and see who's on the list of who takes care of people. to sit here today and have to listen that somehow this is discriminatory just adds to the fact that when you're out of facts, when you don't know what you're talking about and what you've never done. Not one of your people have ever been on the floor and had tried, not this floor, I'm talking about the automobile floor. You know an awful lot about laptops, but you know nothing about blacktop. You get on that floor, you get on that lot, and you work with people to make sure they can have affordable transportation. Affordable transportation. Rather than this person trying to arrange financing by himself or herself, we rely on a dealer who has great heft within the financial community and to talk to lenders and say, we have a great customer here who's looking to buy a car. We need you to work with us to get them in this transportation. How in the world can you reduce this down to discrimination? We are doing the same thing every day that you are doing. We are trying to make sure that we're making America great every day in every way. And the best way to do that is to stop talking about discrimination and start talking about the nation. We're coming together as a people in spite of what you say. Thank you, gentlemen. I yield back.
Gentleman's time has expired. Members are reminded to address their remarks to the chair. The gentleman from Texas reserves, the gentlelady from California.
Thank you very much. The gentleman, Mr. Kelly, please do not leave because I want you to know that I am more offended as an African-American woman than you will ever be. And this business about making America great again, it is your president that's dividing this country. And don't talk to me about the fact that we don't understand what happens on the automobile. No, I will not yield. No, I will not yield.
Okay.
Don't tell me that we don't understand. That's the attitude that's been given toward women time and time again.
The gentlelady will suspend. The chair wishes to remind all members that they are to address their remarks to the chair. Gentlelady will continue.
I respect the chair, but don't stop me in the middle when you didn't stop him in the middle. And so I shall continue. Don't you dare talk to me like that and think that somehow women don't understand what goes on the floor of automobile dealers.
Minded to direct her remarks to the chair. The gentlelady will continue in order.
I will continue to do that. However, I don't appreciate that you did not interrupt him when he was making those outrageous remarks about him knowing more about discrimination than I know about discrimination. I resent that, and I resent the remark about making America great again. He's down here making a speech for this dishonorable president of the United States of America. Having said that, I reserve the balance of my time, and no, I do not yield not 1 second to you. Not 1 second. Not 1 second to you.
Gentlelady reserve.